in Warhammer 40k Darktide, the barracks, the achievements that you do, the little nitty gritty things that makes you do in the game to earn cosmetics and stuff, they're called pittances because the whole empire is a religion at this point. The emperor of mankind 10,000 years ago was very clear: no religions, none of them. Our God is science. This is about progression. This is about technology. This is about working together. Since he has been gone for for 10,000 years, he is now worshipped as the God King, God Emperor of mankind. The entire thing is a religion devoted to him and worshiping him. So those achievements are called pittances. You're doing your pittances. Oh, I got to kill a googly gawk with a whoozy what's it 3 times. Like stuff like that. I love that lore behind all that Warhammer
cool.
40k stuff. Like we've fallen so far that we can't create a lot of the technology, and we call electronics or things that are borderline AI, like smart programs, the machine spirit. Oh, let's wake the machine spirit. Yeah, you mean turning it on? Shut up.
So the Ugrin have had a lot of influence over time.
And they've fallen a long ways. I love the lore from that. It might be the most depressing and saddest sci-fi like reality to live in. I think it's got to be.
It's dismal. Like those people that are just like dissected to their just like one arm and a head, and then they're like put in a vending machine, and their entire world is just to like pick apples and give them to you.
So the reason that humanity fell so far from its huge pinnacle of technology and achievement, and it had become like probably the most powerful of the galactic empires, was AI. Their AI was so good that it became sentient, and it became so sentient that it gained a soul. So it was actually able to be corrupted and infected by demons. So it was it rebelled against mankind. They had this huge war, and humanity barely won. Like it was all they could do just to win. And so their galactic empire, which was spread everywhere because of another thing that goes bad later on, is cut off from one another. We can't get to those worlds that are way out there. They're cut off for the next 5, 6, 7,000 years. On those planets, if they were isolated enough that sub-light travel wouldn't allow them to get to any neighbors, the idea that they were from Earth, called Terra, is a dream. The Emperor, that's a figment of our ancestors' imaginations. Some of them have fallen into medieval worlds. There's a crusade when we get things back in hand, and everybody's going out to take the worlds back over. Like, hey, you're humans, you're from Terra, the Emperor is your boss. Come on, get with us. And some resist, and some say, yes, sir, we never forgot you. We've been preparing this whole fucking time. We knew you'd come. And some of them are like, we're medieval knights now, and we bow to no man. And they're like, but there's like 1 billion of you. So if you guys could like get with the program, here's an iPad. We bow to no man. And so there's this great story where like they're going to fight them. They're going to fight them, the like black powder like planet. It's like, come under our heel or we're going to fight you. And the reason we're going to do that is because without us, you're going to be raped, murdered, and infected by like googly-eyed eyeball worms if you're lucky, because that's about as good as it gets out here. You need us, and we need you. All of the man meat on this planet that gets thrown into that galactic grinder, we need it. So there's a great story where they're just about to just have an actual battle, and one of the Space Marines goes to his boss, and he's like, sir, permission to provide a demonstration before we commence battle. Very well. And he just starts running toward the enemy army by himself. And they're just letting him have it with cannons and artillery and all, and just thousands of men. And he just jogs on through them. And he doesn't stop when he gets to their lines. He sort of like moves people and machinery out of his way and keeps on moving through the encampment, through the lines. Now he's in the encampment where they spent the night before. They're chasing him. He's getting toward the general's tent. He's still going. He's just chugging along, and bullets and artillery and explosions. And he gets there and he says, General, sir, a word. And it's, okay. And he walks there and he pulls out an iPad not an iPad, but their iPad.
Yeah.
And he's like, these are the threats that we face. And he shows them like video from the worlds that have fallen, of like the demons, the aliens, the Tyranids, the greenskins. This is what we face, and this is what we fight. This is what the Emperor shields you against on a daily basis. And all we ask is that you bend the knee. Okay, we're good. All you have to do is, we didn't know you had iPads. Fuck.
Yeah. Lead with the space worms, man. Like
lead with the space worms. So it's a fascinating like lore thing that like I've watched dozens and dozens of hours of videos and read a couple books, and man, I still struggle to like know it all.
Telling me stories about the 40k universe.
There's so many dark, awful stories. I've told you about the one where they come and they rescue the people who were being force-fed by these machines in cages until they were enormous, bloated monstrosities. And then they were starved until they were like nothing but skin and bone. And they were carrying their own loose, folded skin around so they wouldn't trip over it. Mindless husks of men. And they were being led single file to be skinned so the skins could be utilized for some awful use that they had for like lots of people's skin. Ugh. And they're being rescued at the last minute.
Man,
and the space marines and these space marines, these hardcore Astartes, are even saying like, fuck, this is pretty rough shit. I've seen some shit, but god damn. Like there's that little moment.
It wasn't the humans doing that to him. It was aliens that captured him, right?
I think it was
that needed human skin for.
I think it was chaos infected humans. I think it was chaos marines, if I remember correctly. But again, I've read so much and listened to so much that and there's so many awful things in that universe that one kind of folds into the other.
Have you bought a book or anything? Like, I'm
yeah,
sure they have full books, right?
Oh yeah, the audiobooks are tremendous. I like those a lot. But what you really need to do if you actually want to try to tackle it, because the lore is 10 times deeper than Lord of the Rings. Like imagine 10 Silmarillions, but they're
gosh.
Well, it's kind of a living universe that a ton of people pour.
The story continues. Right? The story continues. See, I look at it and I'm like, all right, I've read the Bible, but in their Bible, like God is still, is God coming back? When's Jesus coming back? Like that. That's kind of where the story is. It's like he's been down and out for 10 millennia. Like the Emperor. So here's a bit of story. The Emperor gets wounded in this huge thing called the Horus Heresy, where one of his sons rebels against him. Half the Space Marines follow him in this big galactic war. Their numbers are decimated. In the end, the Emperor either allows himself to be wounded or becomes grievously wounded in killing his son. And so he has been sitting on this throne, the golden throne of Terra. He sits there for 10,000 years. He has sat there, barely pieced together, a husk of a man, but still alive somehow on the inside, using all of his mental fortitude, his like psychic powers to keep shut this hole that is torn in our reality that leads to hell. That hole was accidentally torn trying to like send out a message a few years prior. I won't get into that nonsense but he concentrates on keeping that closed, because if he ever actually dies or stops concentrating, then all of hell floods into Earth right there in the capital city on Terra. And but he doesn't have enough psychic energy because he's wounded. So throughout, there is a whole industry of men and women who scour the million planets that make up the Imperium and look for those who are touched, those who have psychic ability of any kind. They're rounded up. They are thrown on ships. They are taken back to Terra. They are lined up 10,000 a day and taken into a room where they are killed, and their essence is used to power the Golden Throne once more to keep that thing charged up for another day. And without it, we all die.
Eesh.
Fun. And that is one of the lighter stories. But the thing is, in the books recently-ish, and the last few years, like the Emperor's been showing little signs of consciousness for the first time in like a really long time in like real world years, as far as like writing books and novels and stuff. So like he's starting to like wiggle a little and send out some like psychic stuff, and I like beat up some of the chaos gods in their realm. So it's a real weird, fascinating universe. But you got to watch a YouTube video. There's a YouTube video that sums it all up in 20 minutes. There's one called like Warhammer 40k lore in 20 minutes, and this guy like speed runs it. And
I think I actually watched that one. You told me about that one, and he kind of gave me a summary. And I like all the like documentary style, like slow pans of like the big artistic art they have, like really like detailed art, I should say, not artistic.
Yeah,
art.
really good artwork. Yeah, it's good stuff. I love that shit. Voldemort and Luton09 are the two best YouTubers in my opinion for lore-based stuff. Voldemort puts on a voice for his wonderful listeners, and he writes his own fan
that's
fiction.
Fun. I like that.
He writes his own stories to accompany lore, and I didn't realize he was the writer. I was like, wait, you made that shit up? Because I'm online looking for the book. like I'm trying. He like made up this whole storyline about an orc character, and it's like hours and hours of content that he's like reading to you, and he wrote it. And I'm looking for the book on Amazon or something. Baltimore gets excellent, he makes money. And so is Luton. That when they like, the lore is so dense that they'll want to make a video talking about, let's just say, a gun. They're talking about the bolter. This just happened, and he's like, I went to the Wikipedia, but that's not accurate. You can't go to the wiki. That's why it takes me weeks to make you guys a video. I had to go to these books, and he like shows like he's like the entire Imperium Compendium of weaponry, like because this is because it's this nitty gritty shit when they're trying to figure out what's inside the bullets that come out of a bolter, whether it's depleted deuterium or depleted uranium.
I just put it in the chat. So Magic released their 40k set, and like how good Magic art is.
Yeah,
like some of them, it's like people being disemboweled. Like I'm sure like how brutal they can be. And
I'm looking through these,
but like apparently it is a super fun set with that. They 40k fans are very pleased with like the representation Magic gave them, apparently, which is neat. Like I haven't really played with many of these yet, but I'm excited to. I think I might buy a box.
So I'm like not one of those crazy lore experts or anything, but like just going through them. Yeah. There's lots of like, I see the Necron stuff and the Grey Knight stuff. Lots of nitty gritty, cool shit here. Lots of interesting characters. You're not dragging me back to Magic.
Fuck! Come on, this can get you. This can get you. It's fun. And guess what? In like 6 months, you can make a deck that's half Warhammer 40k, half Lord of the Rings. That's what I'm going to do. What am I, stupid? What am I, lame? What is that embarrassing in your 30s? Like to be really amped up over things like this? No, I didn't get that amped up over this set because I didn't have the back lore, but the Lord of the Rings one's going to be super fun.
Oh, and if you want my favorite story from 40k, I don't know. I think the guy's name's Gilliman, Rabut Gilliman. He has to like. There's a story where like the Horus Heresy, which is the big civil war, is coming to an end. You could also think of it as like Satan rebelling against God in many ways. And so Horus finally gets to Earth. He has fought his way across the galaxy, and he's here. And he basically challenges the Emperor to come up and face him. And for some reason, the Emperor says, yeah. And so they like warp up to his ship, and the Emperor is separated from his sons. And his son and the ships in this universe are miles long. So he has to fight through a mile of evil to get to his father. And so like that's my favorite story. Him fighting through a mile or two of evil with his buddies to get to their father who's fighting.
I just went to Luton's channel. Hour and 20-minute video uploaded 9 hours ago. The Imperium's Worst Jobs 3.
I've seen parts 1 and 2, and I'll tell you what. God damn, those are some of the worst jobs you've ever even heard of. It's like, are you a maggot farmer? No, I wish.
I'd do anything to be a maggot farmer.
I've been trying to work up to maggot farmer since I was a boy. How old are you? They don't let us count.
I'm a poo taste tester. No one has benefited by my work. It's like, shut up or we'll splice you into a million bees. And it's like, okay.
Some of the punishments are horrific. Like if you they can seal you into this like sarcophagus that keeps you alive forever. and it's a war machine. So they're like, oh, you did us wrong on the battlefield, you betrayed us. Now forever you will be a war machine. And they like fuck their brain up a little bit and like cast them into essentially a casket that's almost impenetrable. And then inside of that, they are like controlling a giant robot of war. And so there's no escape. The dead, there is no, what's the quote? There's so many good 40k quotes. It's something like, duty only ends in death, or something like that. And like, death does not come to us. And because a lot of these guys are so hardcore that like, no matter how grievously injured the Astartes are on the battlefield, it's like, man, can we scoop up most of his brains? Yeah, I got like all of them here. They're like, all right, put them in this jar. Now put that in the machine. And he's just like waking up like, what is this? And they're like, we got you, Bob. Don't worry. And he's like, good. like there's so many guys.
You're a robot now.
Yeah. They'll put them in, but the robots and these dreadnoughts and these like giant Titan machines, they look like a city that walks. They have like Gothic cathedral appearance. It's like a walking Gothic cathedral with more firepower than like the entire U.S. Navy, right? That walks and talks. It's alive. It's really fun lore. I wish they'd make a good movie about some of it, but it just seems like there's so much.
Good. Like if there's that many stories and
I don't know
it
how.
Would be expensive.
It's so difficult. Big. Like I don't know how you like
just pick like a microcosm of it. Like maybe the Emperor's rise to power. See
like without getting like, I know we got 4 hours, we always joke, but like his rise to power is like a whole like many movies. It's all sorts of shit because because 40k spans those 40,000 years of nonsensical history. And for some reason they've got authors that they're like, oh, I really like this millennium. I only write here. It's like shit. Well, there's a lot of dense shit to remember. I don't know a quarter.
That's really funny. Some guy who's like really only into the 2100s of the.
Sure, there's people who like to write, like the pre-Horus heresy stuff and the the Crusade stuff. There's lots of like big defining like moments in that like period of time where like everything changes. There was a time where, like I say, galactic travel gets nixed. Now we're stuck. And there's a time where they're really high and then they revert back to really low. I like that the way they travel though from place to place is like Event Horizon. They just kind of open a portal to hell and they travel through hell to get to where they're going because it's faster.
So you always are traveling through hell, hence the demon problem.
Yes.
Should have just taken longer trips.
They're really, really long.
Yeah, but like demons seem to be a huge problem in this world.
They are. They're a pretty huge problem.
People could just die of old age if it wasn't for the demon thing. They wouldn't have had to come up with all the robots and the vending machine people.
The vending machine people are sad. Yeah,
that is. But they're mostly like dead. Like
they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be lobotomized. But in Darktide, you go up to the healing station, right? And this guy's in there, like just his torso and his head, and he's like, "Healing, sir." And you push the button, and he like jabs you, heals you up. And then as you're walking away, he goes, "Where am I? It's so dark, and I'm lonely." And then one guy goes, "It hurts. Why does it hurt?" And it just closes. And we just go on our way, like fighting evil.
Yeah, it's like buying a Red Bull in that world. So you just go on with your life,
or a Pepsi, moving.
Or a Pepsi,
or chocolate of any kind, or coffee. What other things or an iPhone? What other first world like creature comforts are fueled by slavery and like evil? Like all those I just mentioned.
Yeah, energy.
Not Pepsi.
Is oil?
I don't care about the animals, man. Let's get that oil. I stopped caring a while ago when I realized I didn't really think snow owls were that cute after all. You ever see one wet? No, thank you.
I was going by the extraction. There's no slave labor involved. There's no trouble. There's no.
I think that's an industry where you need like good
machinery.
I think those people that are operating like offshore oil rigs, which is where I guess most of it comes from, are like
I was stuck in the Middle East when I said that.
Professionals. Well, I think they're they got so much money. Why would they use slaves? They hire the best of the best to protect.
That's how they built the World Cup stuff.
That's
but
Qatar.
that's stupid labor.
Like
and that's
Saudi
Qatar.
Arabia is like probably spending billions on the finest drilling tech from us and
only the best 9/11 hijackers.
Only the finest.
The sharpest razor blades money can buy.